boobies, death and boobies, death and boobies.
Boobies.
And our watch has ended.
Yes.
Welcome. I know. Welcome back to A Podcast Has No Name, recapping the final episode of Game of Thrones titled The Iron Throne. I'm Seth Dunlap, first of my name.
Michael of House Styles, first of my name.
You sounded very unsure.
My first name.
I think it's right. Christina Molinario, Mother of Dragons.
Cat Vance.
The cat of the crew.
You can say House.
She's sad. That's why she has the glasses on today.
Oh,
House Bayou.
For those of you who can't see,
yeah.
Kat wore the sunglasses because she's very sad.
I'm Teapot from House B97.
We're missing the father of dragons today, Leon. We miss you. We might be doing one more episode next week, but look, can we believe the series is over?
I can't.
No.
I mean, it's done.
Yeah.
It's over.
I mean, it was pretty. I can. It was just a very definitive end.
Yeah.
But it did kind of leave the door open. Like, I don't think that's a sustainable, like, policy that they have going. It kind of feels like, why do the Starks get to not be in the realm? And
Yeah,
I
you
can
know-
see the other houses kind of.
I was thinking
rejecting
that, and I think the other house, the fish.
Tully.
Tully?
Not
The
the
Kraken.
actual fish.
The
Oh, the
Ironborn.
The Greyjoy.
I
Ironborn.
thought that
The
too,
Ironborn.
because
Greyjoy.
they were
The Greyjoys.
free.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm waiting for Yara to be like, wait a minute.
Screw this.
Spinoff Yara
Yeah.
versus Bran.
Bran.
Because, I mean, I think Bran, because he's an alien, he was okay to, like, rule, and everyone can be like, we all are kind of afraid of him, he can do it. But then when he goes, he's like, is it going to be the next
They
Three-Eyed
vote
Raven?
again.
Well, then they vote again.
But then they're going to need favors from each other and shit. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
think it's sustainable. It becomes like pop. Did you love when Sam
No.
suggested democracy and they all
Yeah, and they all like laughed at
But
him.
maybe
Yeah, it's
that's
like-
what it's going to lead to. Because Arya's going to discover America.
She's
Right.
or Westworld,
Yeah.
one of the
Yeah.
two.
Or Westworld.
Or
Yeah.
Westworld. What's west of Westeros?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
She's going to get
the
there. when they have
Westeros.
iPhones.
Yeah.
The Westeros. I mean,
That dragon's going to come back
Drogon.
Drogon.
I hope
with
so,
a resurrected,
more
like,
babies.
undead Dany.
They left it open a little bit.
They did.
Going
I
to a
think
Red Priestess. Yeah,
there
she's
could be a
coming back.
2-hour movie in the works next
That'd be
couple of
great.
years.
I would be all
I
for
think.
that. Okay, we'll get into the nitty gritty of this final episode, but let's, like we'd always done, at least this season we've done, let's give our thoughts, Mike, on the episode. The episode, not the series, because we're going to do a series recap podcast later, but this is just for the episode.
I don't want to. I don't even want to acknowledge all the haters online and
Oh,
social
yeah.
media and stuff.
What
but
is
I
wrong
do.
with people?
I do know people were upset with the episode. I didn't think it was that bad. There were some things I would obviously change, but it's not really my story. So I was
Yeah.
definitely able to enjoy it for sure on my second watch.
Mike was, let's just say he was partaking in an adult beverage or two last night before we watched.
It took
It
all of
was,
us
it was
2
quite
watches.
entertaining.
Yes.
So.
See, I just got to tell our audience what happened.
Yeah,
So at
go
the
ahead,
very
go
end,
ahead.
at the very end of the show, we're watching it with a few people, and Mike, I swear to you, this is true. Mike looks over and he asks me, "Well, I don't really understand what happens with Daenerys. Where did she go? Is she still alive?" I'm like, "Wait, what? No, she,
It was a
she
little
died."
silly over there.
Yeah.
So, Stina, what do you think of the episode?
Oh my gosh, I cried, guys. I don't know if it's because of the pregnancy or what, but like I was extremely emotional. I would give it a 10 out of 10. I was shocked when I got online this morning, and even people that weren't usually hating on it were hating on it. I was
Yeah.
like, I don't understand. Like, I didn't see one person who thought of a positive note to say, but I loved it.
It's the internet crowd again.
Yeah.
I haven't anybody I've talked to in person.
Love
They
it.
all love
Okay,
it.
the
Every
same.
single one
Yeah,
of them.
my coworker was like, we hugged each other. We're like, it's over now.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I feel like people wanted some sort of like fiery end where
Something,
everybody
maybe more-
died.
Yeah,
Right, that's what I was
maybe,
expecting.
but
I kept saying, like, I didn't expect a happy ending, but now that I got it, I'm really
Is it
happy
that
I
happy?
did. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty happy.
It's as happy as it can be.
In that
think
world,
so.
very
Yeah,
happy
You
for that
know?
world,
Yeah,
right?
I thought
But
it was great.
I think it was happy. Like in that world for them, I think that they all were satisfied with their end.
Yep.
And I was satisfied with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
As a
too.
Daenerys hater, I know.
Kill that bitch.
Nothing better in our seasons, 4 or 5 seasons of doing this than T-Pop's anti-Daenerys.
I love it.
Yeah.
Daenerys rants.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I take that back. My brother said he didn't really like it and his wife, but they're the only two. My parents, when I talked to them about it, did say, well, fairy tale ending didn't seem quite, apropos for the show. And I kind of get that, because I was in here last week predicting that Daenerys just burns it all down.
I
like
thought
Daenerys,
Jon
and
I
she
thought that
lives.
Jon and Daenerys for sure were going to die. So I was wrong.
I did
about
too,
that.
going into it. Well,
I really did.
Yeah, I thought she was going to burn it down and then die somehow, but she didn't burn it down.
As soon as Drogon lands next day, I was like, oh, he's a goner.
Yeah.
I thought
No,
that was
you know what?
Targaryen
I
love.
never thought that he was gonna die. I felt
Wow.
like Drogon wasn't gonna do it, and so when he set fire to the chair, I was like, exactly, because I didn't think Drogon would ever kill him,
No.
because he's a Targaryen.
Yeah. I
Right.
didn't think Drogon would kill Jon. I just thought somehow he would die.
I
I
stopped
thought he would
thinking.
die like
Somehow, some way.
when he was walking to go say bye to his Starks, and Grey Worm was looking at him on the boat. I thought Grey Worm was just going to take a spear and go like in his skull.
Oh,
I was like,
no.
oh my gosh, here it comes, but it didn't.
Oh, can you imagine?
After that lone wolf dies and the pack survives thing,
Yeah.
after that I kept saying it in my head, and I was like, you know what? I think this is true. I think all the Starks are gonna live.
Yeah.
Looking back on it, it's amazing. I mentioned this last week too. We initially thought it was a story about the Starks. Ned got his head chopped off. Winterfell was sacked, and we're like, well, this isn't a story about the Starks. It's a big rope-a-dope. But if you go back and watch, this was a story about the Starks.
Yeah.
They're the ones who are in power now. You have Sansa, queen in the north. You have Jon, basically queen of the real north.
Queen.
Yeah.
A king of the, queen. He's a little queen.
I love
Queen. Queen of the real north. And, of course, you have
Bran
Bran
on the throne.
Bran the Broken.
Bran the broken.
And they were
Bran
really.
the creep.
I know they kept calling him Bran.
Creep.
I'm just about like King Bran. You know, the dress
Right?
was like crippled him. Like
They always have to have a
Tyrion,
Bran
such
the
a dick.
Broken.
Don't call you Tyrion like the midget or imp
Yeah,
or whatever.
right.
So.
They do, actually,
They-
right? Tyrion the Imp.
yeah.
Oh, that's true. They call him
You
the
can't
imp.
say the M word.
But not like for whenever they're talking about him in power, they're always Tyrion of House Lannister. So I
Yeah.
don't understand why. I mean, he is the king.
Yeah.
So it's not
Yeah.
like, here's Bran the Broken, our king. I don't know.
Bran probably wouldn't care, though, I guess.
No, he doesn't.
Maybe.
He's going to go find the dragon. He's going to go warg, right?
No, he's gonna go
for the
and
dragon.
prove to his sister that his dick works. She called him out in front of everybody.
He's hardcore.
Who is Sansa gonna bang to like continue the Stark line? Because Arya's going somewhere, and then Jon knows no
Yeah.
fucking
Oh,
titles or wives or children, and
To keep the Stark line going?
yeah, Bran can't. Sansa has to do it. So who
Maybe
does she-
she'll bone Gendry it.
I mean, maybe it really
Oh.
was the last of the Starks.
Maybe.
No.
No, I think they're gonna.
Can they adopt? They don't do that back then. No.
No, but I don't see Sansa giving away her Stark name. She wouldn't give away the whole North. So she's like,
Yes.
if you marry me,
Yeah.
we're both Starks
Matrilineal.
people.
What is it?
Yeah.
Matrilineal? Is that what you
Yeah.
say? Matrilineal?
Or she could get knocked up without getting married.
Yeah, but then it would be a Snow. Oh, but then she's
Oh,
the
wait.
queen.
She can, legitimize.
She can, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Legitimize.
yeah, I know her game.
Yeah, maybe she'll go have a one-night stand. And
Long night.
go to some man brothels?
Oh my God,
yeah.
what if she and Tyrion hook up? I'd
They
pay to see
should.
that.
Everyone that
Why
I watched
not?
with, they were saying Tyrion Sansa 2020. Like, that was our end game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted that too.
Yeah.
I really wanted that too. Let's go back to the beginning, and we see everybody walking through the destruction that is immediately after Daenerys lays waste to the entire city, and the Dothraki, what's left of them. I really don't want to address just the dumb stuff I'm seeing online, but people are acting like, well, I thought all the Dothraki were wiped out. Well, they went from like 100,000 to
them.
like 200.
Yeah.
Right.
Give me
Yeah.
a break. Like, what are you talking about? There
Yeah.
was like
No.
200
Yeah.
there instead of the 100,000 whatever they brought over.
Right.
Yeah.
So the Dothraki are there, the Unsullied are there, and they show that with, and I got really creeped out a few times. I thought that the cinematography was pretty good. Not my favorite of the series, but pretty good in that it, like the SS, the Nazi
Yeah.
visuals,
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
the flag and the colors and the
Yeah.
destruction.
Yeah.
They creeped
The
me
muted
the hell
colors
out.
and then
Really
like
had
the
that
really
vibe.
bright red on the dragons.
Yeah.
Did you guys get that too, or was it
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
me?
For
It
sure.
was,
It was-
definitely a Nazi vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Like those
was
old
it
Nazi
snowing?
movies.
Was it
snowing.
ash?
It was snowing.
little snowing. It's snowing,
Yeah.
but then yeah, obviously, yeah.
Why was there snow?
Because
Still
it's
winter.
It's winter.
Like a nuclear winter? Because
No,
I'm like,
whenever-
what happened?
The last episode of the last season, it started snowing a little bit in
It
King's
did start
Landing
snowing
because
a
Jamie
lot.
had the snow on his
Oh!
hands. So like now it's coming down a little bit more.
I thought it was summer over there.
I like
Seasons are very weird, and I don't
the
get them
dragon
either.
was napping under the snow and ash.
Which
and
I thought was
he
so
woke
cute.
up.
That was pretty cool.
That was kind
Yeah.
of cute.
Gave Jon a
Needed a
sniff.
rest.
We
Like,
do
"You're not gonna
see
murder her."
before Daenerys' speech, we see Tyrion go under and kind of climb his way through, as only Tyrion can, because he knew that his sister was going to try to escape and his brother was going to try to escape. And I could have, if I'm being honest, I could have done without that scene, but I think they did it well. Like, I'm okay with that.
I love that.
Did you?
I mean, I think he spent a little too much time getting there, but when he was grieving over over Jaime and Cersei, I thought that was so powerful.
Yeah.
I love that.
And then it goes
Their
back
pact didn't
to
survive.
him being all naked in the tub, or no, not when he was naked in the tub with Brienne, but before that, when Bronn asked him how he wanted to die, and he said, "In the arms of the woman I love."
Yep.
Oh,
And
Great
like
point.
Jamie
he was
said
laying
that.
on her.
yeah.
Yeah.
He definitely had his golden arm around her. That's so sweet.
Yeah.
And that was a great way for Cersei to go. Like, I feel like, let's say it again. Like, that was, she literally watched her whole world crumble around her.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
much, wouldn't that be, if you had to die, I'd rather get, if I had my choice, I'd be like, okay,
I'd
slit
rather
my
die
throat,
quick.
15
Yeah.
seconds of pain or whatever, and it's done. I don't want to spend an hour watching literally my world crumble around
Which
me.
is,
Right.
and that's what I don't get about people. People are like, no, she should have burned. She should have done that, and blah, 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 blah.
No.
And it's like, that was like a slow ass torture right,
Right.
there. Because she thought she had the upper hand, and then she didn't. And then it was like, and then she refused to admit it. Like, Qyburn was like, we need to leave. And she's like, no, this is the safest place ever. And he's like, no, it's not. It's
and then
falling down
Qyburn
around
gets
you.
his head
I
bashed
want
in.
it.
Yeah.
And I think the reason Tyrion, I was trying to be like, in my head when he was like grieving over Cersei and Jaime, I thought like, well, maybe this is why he was so bad, like as Daenerys' hand, because he like maybe
Maybe.
subconsciously was always trying to protect his family.
And he
so
was.
the strategy that he
Right,
was
yeah.
laying out for her was like actually to kind of
He
help
loved
Cersei.
Cersei, even through all the vicious stuff that they did to each
And
other.
assassination attempts.
And he really loved Jaime.
Yes.
I think he loved Jaime the most, and he still wanted that approval. He always wanted the approval from his dad, which is why he killed his dad, because that hurt him so much when they took Shay and like the whole thing.
Shay.
So,
Big betrayal. Okay, so Tyrion comes up, and then we see Daenerys walking cool with like the dragon wings
Yeah.
coming
Yes,
out of her.
that was
Epic
awesome.
shot.
Oh my goodness.
Gave me
Cool.
chills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually didn't recognize it until I watched it the second time, and then the memes online that I saw
Yeah.
with her. It's really cool. So she gives a speech. Look, I was completely off of Team Daenerys. She did unspeakable things that I could never forgive her for, but she's a great orator.
For
like that
sure.
speech.
yeah.
I was.
like
She
Hitler.
almost brought me back on board. I was like, okay, girl, I get it.
It's
Hitler was a good orator.
she was speaking
Just
in
say it.
a different
She was-
language. And,
she was speaking
but
in-
it was still like, I was like, oh, damn.
Well,
Like, I
first
can
she was
get behind
speaking to the Dothraki, and then in Valyrian,
Right.
to the
Yeah.
Unsullied.
Oh, she can rally up anybody. Like
Yeah.
even if you.
She's
were
like,
on
I
your
know
lowest
all the
day.
languages.
Oh, for sure.
She was crazy though.
No, to Kat's point, though, look, there are very evil people who are great orators there. And that's when I got the SS imagery with her giving the huge speech with everybody in front of her.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, I think, we'll get to it, but like, the one thing I didn't like about that speech is that she said, leading up to the war, that this is the last war, but then her rally speech was like, oh no, we're taking this from
Yeah.
Winterfell to Dorne to Essos and Bravos. I was like, wait, this is a 180, unless it was like puffery, like, you know,
I don't know.
Well, was
politicians
this
that we
just
have.
the
Yeah.
battle in the last war in her mind? Maybe that was the first battle in the last
Well,
war.
it was weird because when she
Oh.
was naming all those places, and she's like Dorne, and I'm like, what's wrong with Dorne?
They're
What-
already on
who
your
are they?
team.
Like, first of all,
Right.
yeah, they're on your team.
Everybody's on her team, really.
Second of
except
all,
the
they're
North.
down with incest over in Dorne.
Oh yeah. they
Well, I
don't give
didn't
a
really.
shit.
I guess look. I'm not going to defend Daenerys. Like I said, I'm off board. But in that speech, I thought more that she was saying we're going to free everybody from, and they were just giving landmarks. Not that she was necessarily. She probably would have for
enslaved in
Sansa.
Dorne?
No, she was not. Maybe with Winterfell because she wasn't Sansa. But I would just like if you say, you know, from freedom from sea to shining she, from New York to Miami. It doesn't mean you're going to, you know.
It just was
sack
weird
the
that she
cities.
named all those places, even though there were no slaves there.
Right.
Well, she went crazy. I mean, she lost it.
Yeah.
When
She absolutely
did that
lost
walk
it.
out there, I went, oh, that is some crazy.
I don't know if it
girl
was a
shit right
murderable
there.
offense, though. I don't know. Tyrion failed her a lot, and like I think she was right in having to like probably have him.
Oh,
Killed.
yeah.
okay.
Oh,
I thought you were
definitely,
saying.
yeah.
I thought you were saying what Daenerys did to the city was.
No,
Oh, no.
but that's what.
I had that out with some. Oh, is there anybody here that was okay with what she did to the city?
My husband.
If you can't, well, yeah. What did he say? I can
He
be
said,
convinced.
"Fuck those
Convince me.
people. They cheer for Ned Stark. He
Wow.
was Team
That's a-
Daenerys all the way.
Yeah.
Deserves
I'm
being
still
burned
Team
alive.
Dany, but I mean, I understand she was crazy for doing it. I don't agree with it, but I mean, do I still back her? Yeah.
I do too. It's you know, I like you. I'm like, well, you know, I forget what character it was. I think it was actually Tywin Lannister. Like, you want to, you know, make them fear you.
Right.
And, so it definitely worked. Just scare the shit out of them.
It did.
Yeah.
I mean,
don't know
she
why
could
she
have.
had to die. I wish Jon had to like just fuck your aunt for God's sakes,
I know,
and then like
Jon.
Yeah.
lead her, like maybe just reel in her crazy. She offered basically like, we can do this together.
Yeah.
And he was like,
But she said that, but it was a lie. I mean, just
That's
like
true.
how she told
She
them
was
that.
gonna kill him, maybe.
No. She wasn't going to kill him, but I mean, she would have had him in every single like battle ever. Like she would have started wars with places like Dorne for no
Dorne.
reason.
I
Well,
wanna
here's
live
my
in
like
Dorne.
what look, and this is the thing. If you're going to, usurp the throne and try to free King's Landing, well, I'm sorry, but for as bad as Cersei was, she didn't do anything like that. So how is Daenerys in that moment better than the Lannisters or the Baratheons ever were?
Cersei didn't have to. If Cersei had to, trust me, she would be just as evil as
No,
Daenerys was.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it 100%.
They did.
Yeah, but Dany didn't have to either.
no.
In her mind, I mean, Tyrion put it the best way. We'll get to it, but the Tyrion speech, like
Yeah.
that, wrapped up Daenerys in a beautiful little.
Yeah,
bow
and I
right
love
there.
I love her
Yeah.
character. Just like I liked the character of Cersei. I hated like her. Like, of course, if Cersei was a real person, she'd be
I
like
hated
the most
both
evil
of them,
person
but
ever.
Could understand both of them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can
Where they were
understand their
coming
fall,
from,
right?
Yeah.
Being a woman and maybe a little crazy, and I get that.
Yeah, I'm with you. So I love that Tyrion's just had it, and he goes. I thought that she was just going to have him executed right there. Throws the hand like down.
That
in
thing
a
gets thrown
big
so many
moment.
times. Ned threw it. Everybody throws it.
Dramatic
Nobody
moment.
likes to
Is
see
it the
the
same
hand.
one? I wonder.
It's-
They get those made.
They
Oh,
have to
yeah.
get those made.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
As they said, the king is like takes a shit in the hand. It's the hand that wipes. I think.
Yeah,
Right,
the hand that
yeah.
catches
Nobody
it or something.
wants to be the king. Yeah, something like that.
Poor
The hands,
Tyrion,
yeah.
and he was the hand like buku times. He was
Yes.
Joffrey's hand.
Yep.
He's Daenerys' hand.
He's a
Now
good
he's
hand.
Bran's hand.
Yeah. Now he's
But not his
Bran.
legs.
No.
Oh. Does Tyrion need? Or, I mean, Bran need legs, like leg of the king.
Listen, Bran. Look, Tyrion could make him a pretty sweet horse saddle. I think that's what Tyrion's gonna do now. He's gonna make him. He's gonna ask the Master of Coin for some money to make
Yeah.
that horse saddle.
In a special throne.
Cripples, bastards, and
What do you feel
Leg
about?
of the king.
Oh, I guess before. I guess during that speech or right before that speech, we missed a very important scene where Grey Worm and the Unsullied are executing the Lannister soldiers. Not a good look, but I have more empathy. I have more empathy for the Unsullied because it's been kind of shown and taught to us that they're just following orders. That's what
Yeah.
they do. They don't go and on their own kill innocent people, but they're going to follow the orders of their queen. That's one where I'm not going to blame the soldiers on that one.
No.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was
Or
brutal
Grey
though.
Worm.
When they cut that one guy's throat out, I let out an audible like, oh, like,
It
that
was.
was
Yeah.
rough.
You
Yeah.
could
But
hear
that's
the
what
noise.
that's what they do. You saw when your boy cut their nipple off. Remember
Yeah.
back
Ooh.
when he was introducing
Oh,
her to them,
That's right.
I forgot about that one.
and it's like that's what they were trained to do. That's why they got their dicks cut off.
Right.
Unsullied.
So I guess they're gonna die out eventually, probably pretty quickly because
Then
they
Nath.
reproduce.
Yeah, Nath.
Nah.
Yeah, Nath. So Daenerys gives her speech, and then Tyrion is taken to prison, and we get
Again.
again. They obviously some time has elapsed because they
They said
very
about
visually
3
grew out
weeks.
his beard. So this is did they
Yeah.
say
I
weeks?
thought they said 3 weeks.
I think
No,
Makes-
he just said it's been weeks. I had the
Oh.
subtitles on.
Oh, was it weeks?
The
Okay.
second
okay.
time. Yeah.
I thought I heard the word 3. But
Yeah, because King's Landing was at least a little. It is still broken and
Right.
in
And it was
disrepair,
It was
but
springy.
Yeah.
So
A little
maybe
more
like
cleaned
few
up.
months.
a little
Yeah.
cleaned up. And Tyrion doing what he does best, the best wordsmith and convincer on the show. He obviously, and we'll get to this, convinces Jon
Yep.
to do what needs to be done, really.
But I still don't think that he convinced Jon. Like I don't think Jon walked out of there convinced.
Do you think Jon
He
wanted
was
to?
about 80%. I think the other 20% probably came from Arya. And then right whenever he was about to walk out, he's like, "What about your sisters?"
Yeah.
And then right when Daenerys said, like, no, we're going to show them what's good. Like,
Yeah.
that's
Oh, yeah.
where he was like, oh, okay. Like,
When she
no,
was
no,
like,
no.
they don't get to choose.
Yeah.
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 He was
That's what she said. They don't get to choose.
Well,
and
I don't-
that's when he went,
he was
right.
looking for any reason to not do it when he was talking to her
He
up
was.
there. And
maybe had she been different or said something different, he would
Yeah.
have killed her.
Yeah.
But
had she not have said they don't get to choose, then because then that just made her like everybody else.
Yep.
Right. But I think even if she did say that and Tyrion didn't talk to him, then he wouldn't have done it. Because I think Tyrion really got in his head.
Probably.
why was he okay with making out with his aunt if he was just like, only if he's about to kill her?
Yeah.
calm her down.
Any other time.
He was broken. You could tell
Hoping that
Jon
she
was
would say
broken.
mercy. Yeah, he was. He did some great acting right there. Like,
That
you
was
go,
good.
Kit Harington. Because I mean, you could tell he was just wrestling with it in his head. Like, no, she's my queen. I am Ned Stark's nephew, I guess. I have to do duty no matter
Yeah.
what. Like, duty kills love, and love kills duty. So it's one or the other, and he just chose duty.
The Queen Slayer.
And sacrifice.
Yeah.
I did sacrifice his, although he's probably going to be happier
Yeah.
up north than he
Oh,
ever
he's
would
gonna
be.
love it. Who else?
He'll find
Who
a
else
little
almost
red-headed
cried their
wildling girl.
eyes out watching Drogon like shake her
Yes.
body?
Oh, God.
That was
That destroyed
That
me.
was so sad.
that was the saddest part of the episode for
And
me.
then
Me
he
too.
picked her
Yeah.
up with his little claw.
I know. Like, after he did it, and then you hear the screaming, and I'm like, oh fuck, what's gonna happen? What's gonna
The
happen?
guttural scream when he
Yeah,
just
he let out like
Yeah.
a real
So
And I was
sad.
like, oh, I can't handle this.
like, have you? It was reminding me of like some
He's a good
dogs and
boy.
animals that
Right.
you've seen do that.
Lion
and they're-
King. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
when
sad.
he
It
was
was
trying to
so
wake up
sad.
I
Mufasa.
just like, and then he burned down, like, and John looked like he was ready for it, and then he turns and he just like burns down the throne, and it's
Yeah.
like, you know that he knew that that was the evil.
Yeah.
Right.
And said,
Like,
"I'll
that
show
was the
you."
root of it.
No one's sitting on the fucking throne.
Right.
How about
like a
that?
kid taking
Yeah.
away the like parents taking away.
And
the
I
toys
think
from kids.
in the books, it's canon that dragons are very intelligent, like human level or more intelligent, so they would know,
no,
right?
in the books, they're as dumb as dogs. The
Are
show
they?
made them
show.
smart.
Okay, so the
Oh,
show. yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like those books.
Well, but here is a message from the father of
Oh,
dragons
okay.
that I don't really agree with, but I mean, his really good. So he thinks that Daenerys warged into Drogon at the last second, and that was her flying up and her burning down the throne, because if she can't have it, no one can. And then she took her own body and flew off. But
But she wasn't really a warg, did she?
she wasn't really a warg. But I
the-
mean, it was a good idea.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it.
I like that too.
Yeah, that's a good way to
Yeah.
think about
I
that.
don't
last
think
one.
that
Only
she can
Starks
warg,
can
though.
warg. I don't think Targaryens. would
Targaryens
warg.
can't warg.
What do we think about Daenerys's last moment? This girl that we saw when she was a girl in episode 1 of the first season to that moment, and she kind of in that speech she kind of was taking us back there until she went that paraphrasing, but I don't know what was the exact word, that my ways the only I know what's good, nobody
Yeah,
else
pretty
I'm
does.
going to show
Yeah.
them what's
I'm
good.
going to show
Well,
them.
because in the
They don't
beginning,
Or it
get a
doesn't
choice.
matter. Yeah, they don't get
Yeah.
a choice.
and that was the thing, like, we got that wide-eyed look. Remember,
Yeah.
like, when she was with Viserys, and in the very beginning, and she was wide-eyed, and she was sweet, and she was good, and then, like, she was so hopeful, and then, again, like, where she was standing there, and she was, like, about to touch the thing, and she touched the chair, and when she turned around, and, like, her eyes, again, were that same sort of, and then
Wide-eyed,
she,
Crazy.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Then
then
she
she's
went
like,
crazy.
oh, wait, I'm a bad bitch.
She's a
By the
bad
way,
bitch.
I know what's good.
And it was right in front of us for 8 seasons.
Yeah.
It really was.
It was, and
If you watch
if-
it back, yeah.
I've been told y'all that.
Absolutely, but it
That's
was
right.
kind of for the right reason. It's just that she didn't come with that kind of pure evil in Westeros. Like, yes, Cersei was evil, but not to the point where she was enslaving people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with Daenerys, if you look back on her arc, she had some really bad instincts. Her natural instincts were to do some very terrible things, and it was the people around her that
It was
always
Jorah, really.
talked her out of it. Every time.
fucking
Jorah
Jorah.
and
I never
Tyrion,
liked
Sir
Well, no, he
Barristan
was the one who
did,
talked her out of
Missandei,
stuff.
and all these people. And I think this is where I agree with what the showrunner said in one of their, I think it was last episode, in their post-show little interviews or whatever. They said that now that she doesn't have all those people around her, her worst impulses, she has nobody to check them.
Right,
and I agree.
right.
I mean, this
She was all alone.
That's
Yeah,
what
they were her
Maester
mercy.
Aemon said.
Yes.
Right.
He
A
did.
Targaryen, whatever
Alone
he
in the
said.
world is a dangerous
is-
thing.
Alone
That
in the world
one.
is,
Yeah.
Because Great Worm isn't going to advise
Did you
her.
just call him Great Worm?
I like Great Worm. He's been, I like it. We are elevating him from
Yeah.
gray to
Worm
great.
is,
Great.
You know,
He's Great
she was
Worm.
all alone. A crazy Targaryen lady all alone.
It's
in
still
the world.
sad. Like, this is somebody. It's like the old Tyra Banks meme when it's like, we were rooting for you.
Yeah.
We were all rooting for you.
Yeah.
This is terrible. Like, we were.
Man, Jon, you should have just fuck your aunt. Guys,
I know.
all he
If
had
he
to
would have
do.
done it,
One
she would have.
time.
Listen, I understand that. Sometimes you just need it.
Sometimes you just got to fuck your aunt.
Yeah, and
And
if
he
you don't,
just-
that's the
he would
moral that I
just-
got from the
If
story.
Maybe she'd be alive if he would continually just bone her.
Right.
She'd be in a better mood.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So-
Or, I don't know. I mean, Arya kind of planted that seed, like, you're going to be a threat to her. And then maybe, like, she was having a... Because I felt bad because she was in such a good mood when they... Like, right before he killed her.
Yeah.
That she was, like, sharing personal
Yes, I
anecdotes
know.
and
The one person
not
that...
commiserate. What's the word when you're, like, talking about old times?
reminiscing.
Reminiscing. And
You
then...
don't think she would have killed him?
No, she
Not
wouldn't
then,
have killed
but
him.
maybe
She sure
eventually.
would have
She
killed
was genuinely
Sansa.
happy.
Yeah,
She would have killed Sansa.
Yeah.
yeah.
That was probably the only person in the world that she believed that wouldn't kill her. It was a little devastating, that part of it.
I know. I felt for her.
Even
And-
Drogon, he wasn't a threat then. He let him in. Like, yeah, you can go see Ma. Like, you're good people.
I know.
Yeah.
After sniffing him too.
Stepdaddy.
That's what makes me
Right.
think Jon wasn't sure he was going
Cousin.
to kill her until he got up there, because he actually
Right.
got through Drogon.
That look in her eyes of shock didn't seem like she was mad.
No, she didn't
Amelia
seem
Clarke,
mad.
I really hope Amelia Clarke finally wins an award. Like, she did such an incredible job this season.
Yeah.
I'm acting
Yeah.
Himmel, she's one of
I
the...
bet they all will wipe each other out because they all should win an award.
Yeah, I hope.
Oh.
yeah,
Dude,
that's-
and then
Yeah.
finding out that she had like an aneurysm or
Brain
two
aneurysm.
aneurysms or
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
while filming that.
Really?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did they actually stab her in the heart during it?
What?
I'm just kidding.
Wait, what? Method. Very method.
Very method.
Very method. Where do we think Drogon went? Went east. We know that. Valeria?
Valeria.
dropping
Valeria.
off, dropping
Yeah.
off Dany and Valeria, and then I don't know, like maybe they were just reminding us of Bran's powers when he was like, maybe I can find
Maybe I can
Right.
find
Drogon,
him.
but
Yeah.
Brand.
kind of, I feel like there could be like another season, or like maybe like 50 years later. Or something
They
like that.
definitely, and this is a show thing, and I will defend HBO because it's a business in the end for them. They definitely left many avenues open for many spin-offs, which maybe
Well,
we'll do a little predictions
Like The
later on.
Sopranos, they were going to make a movie with Tony Soprano. Well, of course, he died in
James
But now his son is
Gandolfini,
doing it.
Now they're doing a prequel with the son.
Oh, I haven't watched. I'm
So-
on lap. Don't spoil anything.
What I'm
Sopranos.
saying
All right.
is they left.
Oh my
There's
God.
still
Episode
going to be
4.
a movie.
Oh my god.
I think there'll be a movie.
I think so too. Well, this is going to be.
I mean,
I
after,
still.
with the spin-offs.
Yeah,
but
I agree. This is a franchise in much the same way that Star Wars is a franchise. I mean,
you're
it's
still
going,
looking-
well,
there's
like it or
topic.
not, there's books, there's going to be series,
Yeah.
movies, TV shows, cartoons, there's going to be
Hopefully
everything.
books. Fuck, come on, George.
I know. Let's
Off topic,
go.
if you have mother issues, The Sopranos is very triggering.
Oh, I'm on season 4.
Oh, okay.
so
I was not a fan of the mom, I will say that.
It was very triggering for me.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Were you disappointed with the ending for The Sopranos?
Everybody know Fade to Black, that's probably not a spoiler, everybody should know that.
See,
now,
I
but-
loved
No,
it.
I wasn't. I was fine with it.
I was fine with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after that moment, then we get basically denouements for the rest of the show, which we needed to do this. I mean, slow paced, and everybody. Some people were mad because it wasn't a lot of action. Whatever. I wanted a closure on this. Let's go to the little Kingsmoot, I guess is what it was.
Yeah.
The council. It's
a good word for it.
The
Yeah.
council meeting.
Fuck, are those
And,
people
my
the
favorite-
uncle ever stood up?
I know.
When Edmund
Sit
told him-
down, Edmund.
Sit down, uncle.
I love it.
He's like,
I'm
yeah.
still trying to make
You
a case to be
dumb
king.
fuck.
And none of it was true. He was like, I've been in battles. Like, what?
Yeah, no.
What are you
Yeah.
talking? You've been a capture. Like, you've been. No.
Yeah.
Like, the only reason you're even out is because somebody made a deal.
Right.
And you got to have your wife and your
Idiots.
kid back.
Although I don't blame him for trying. Like,
Yeah.
you know what? Might as well try. Sam, that was pretty awesome. In that
Yeah.
moment, I'm going, okay, this is going to be way too corny if they go full democracy. Like, it's not going to make sense in the
Yeah.
canon.
I started cracking up.
Yeah, after Dany
I
died.
don't let my
and-
horse vote, too.
Yeah, after Drogon carries Dany off, it got kind of like lighthearted from like there on.
It reminded me
Yeah.
of like season 3 almost, kind of like how
Yeah.
they're in King's Landing doing what they got to do. I was digging it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Tyrion back in chains again.
Well,
Yeah.
did you know then it was going to be Bran?
I didn't.
That's not when I really knew, but
I think we predicted it. Just we were asking, and I don't
that
know if you remember
moment.
this,
Maybe, probably not.
but we did predict as soon as it started happening, we're like, Bran's going to win this.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did.
Bran's going to...
I
I
figured out
didn't-
before that, but at that moment, because I was, okay, I knew Dany was going to die. I thought Jon was going to die. I really did. So who's going to be king? Sansa, no. Arya, no. Tyrion, no. So it's either going to be Gendry or Bran.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you remember what I predicted, that the entire thing got destroyed and it ended up like Essos with Valyria and then like the other free cities. And that was my prediction. When Tyrion brought up Bran, I was like, what? And then he was all like, you didn't think I wheeled all the way here for nothing.
Who keeps a secret? Bran.
Yeah.
Who can you trust? Bran. Who has no fucking drama? Bran.
No ulterior motives.
Speak? He listen. He's perfect.
The only question that I had about that is like, I don't want any more. Not really. Yeah. But like but if you don't want, then you can't specifically not want something.
Yeah.
Either.
Yeah.
So when Tyrion's like, I know you don't want it, but like if you don't want, you can't also not want, if that makes sense.
Well, he was like, I don't want, and then he was like, why do you think I'm here? And it's like, what?
Where do you think he was faking it the whole fucking time?
He knew everything.
This is his game to sit on the Iron Throne.
He knew this 7 seasons ago, but he had to shut his fat trap.
Back before he was the Three-Eyed Raven, and back when he was Bran, he always dreamed of being like a knight.
He did.
Yeah.
So
saving the world.
Maybe there's a little bit more Bran in there than we gave him credit for.
I think
You
so.
Just
those
and he can
quiet
actually
ones.
walk that fucker. He just like people
awesome.
pushing him
Just
around.
like that movie about the girl who
About
killed her mother.
he's Gypsy Rose
Gypsy
Blanchard.
Rose.
Y'all gotta watch that shit.
Gypsy
on the Hulu.
Rose, huh?
On the Hulu's, it's the act. Watch it.
Oh, I know. I see Hulu subscriptions coming because Handmaid's Tale.
I think Bran is going to be a great king.
Oh yeah, he's gonna make all of King's Landing handicap accessible. It's gonna be amazing.
no,
Very
I
progressive.
Get things done.
I
yeah.
think he really will understand because he can see everything.
Right.
So he'll
he has
be able
plant more weirwood trees like on all over because that's where he.
No, you see,
can
I don't
everything.
know because he already knows all the past and he knows like most of the present. So, like now he's just. Could he kind of see the future because he knew it was coming?
Well, Bronn.
Yeah. It was a little ambiguous as to whether he could see the future or not.
I don't think
You're
it's
right, Troy,
ambiguous.
you always
I think in the
supposed
show
to
they
see
said
future, but he
could in the show.
no. I think they made it clear that he can't see the future. He can see the present and the past. And I think if you listen to the audio, I think it is.
But they
also said that.
alluded to that with the dragon flying because remember it was the same scene. When in his dreams in season 1, when he had the dreams, there was a dragon flying over King's Landing, right?
That was the future.
And so then when she was destroying this, like when she came in, that scene of the dragon flying over King's Landing
That was it.
That was episode 5. That was it. So I think that maybe he can't all the way see the future. He just got glimpses.
I think
Sure.
it just gets like a
Maybe
little
that.
bit iffy because the Green Seer, they can see the future, and he definitely had like a little bit of that in him with a war, which is why he became the Three-Eyed Raven.
Why did
But
he?
then what?
Was he born that way?
Yeah, he was born being a warg and a Green Seer a little bit. Yeah.
But after his fall, it kind of heightened.
right,
that
he was
sense
like
of-
just Three-Eyed
Heightened it.
Raven. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I think he'll be a good king.
I think I was all in. Like there's not one person that was left on the show that I thought would have made a great king.
No,
Jon, it
that's
would have been
just it.
Jon would have literally usurped the throne, and people would have been. There's no way the Unsullied probably would have sacked the city and killed everybody for that, and the Dothraki too. There's just zero chance. Sansa doesn't want to be in the south.
She's just all about the
Yara, unless you want the whole kingdom just raping and pillaging everything. Dorne
That's
just
our
wants
way.
to drink wine and be their bisexual selves down there.
I would be doing
Arya, obviously not. Gendry was just a legitimized bastard. He doesn't make any sense.
but
Maybe
I think
Sam.
Aaron needs to just grow up a little bit. Like he just mature a little bit.
Yeah, Aaron or maybe Sam. I could have seen Sam.
Sam.
Sam was
Aaron
another
is-
plausible
No.
one.
Not Aaron. Aaron's crazy. Sam is too meek. Like he wouldn't have the
Yes,
balls to
that's-
do anything.
No, Gilly would really be in charge. Can you imagine?
Yeah, Lita
Gilly
does
and
have to
baby
inspire
Sam and
some
her new
fear in
baby.
people, and I mean, Bran's
Sam.
powers are scary. Like
Oh, for sure.
he could just warg in. Like if you try to assassinate you, he already knows about it. He
Yeah.
could warg into your ass and like
He
just fall off a
I
cliff or
thought the
something.
council, if they were like, we need someone, they're going in a different direction. Let's have someone who's good, but they weren't born into this, and so that would be Gendry, really, if you think about it.
I really think making Bronn the master of coin was a mistake.
Mistake.
I thought it. No,
I've been
They
having.
did pay
That's
him
my
off.
only issue with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a thief.
He-
That's like
Right.
pretty.
His number
Tyrion, you
one-
suck at your job.
Wait. Was he a thief or a sellsword? I thought he was a
He was a
sellsword.
sellsword.
He was a sellsword,
But-
he steals.
He was
stuff.
also shady AF.
Listen, his number one priority is building brothels back in Westeros.
Which
That is his
Tyrion, no
priority.
wonder Tyrion wanted to make him hand.
Yes.
Obviously. But
No, you know who
they
was
had
the
to
thief?
pay.
Davos, because he was the pirate.
Yes.
But isn't this the Lannisters
That's why he got
always
in
pay
trouble.
their debts? The last Lannister said, you're getting Highgarden.
Yeah.
Either
You got
Tyrion
it.
was going to die, and we didn't see Bronn until that scene, so I was wondering, is he going to show up with a crossbow and nail
I
Tyrion
love
in the
that
head?
King's Council.
That was a
Jon-
cool. That
I
was
just
cool.
straightened all these
Yeah.
chairs, bro, and y'all gonna mess them up.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It was really cute, and,
Yeah.
and that they were still looking for a master of
Whispers.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
looking
like
for.
a
I'm like,
mayor or
Yeah.
there could be
something.
another season.
Yeah.
I mean, as if.
The only thing
but-
that didn't make sense to me, I guess, if I'm being completely critical, would be I don't know that Tyrion would have really been allowed to talk, especially by Grey Worm. Like Grey Worm probably would have. Not only would he have not been allowed to talk, but he probably would have been executed.
Had
And
no one to give him orders either.
Yeah.
He doesn't really think of things on his own.
yeah, and it was the.
Except now, I mean, they're going to Noth because
Well,
he
now,
wants
but-
to.
What is he going to do there?
I think there
nothing's
was,
wrong there.
Maybe liberate them because
I
isn't
thought
that
they
like
were
a slave
liberated.
state?
Well, it's like it is they because they're such a peaceful city, people
Oh.
go there to take them as slaves.
So
But
maybe
like
protect the
Narth
city.
is pretty scary, but no
Yeah.
one really knows that. But
Oh.
I mean, they're going to Mersandy's place. And
Yes,
they leave
there
it
you
at
go.
that, so it's fine. It's cute.
And then the fact that the North broke away, I guess it kind of makes sense because they were the ones who fought the Long Night.
Yeah.
So maybe that was their reward.
And Dany's armies. I would be pissed if I were Yara because they were granted independence from Dany.
Yeah.
And they're not anymore, and she's just going to be okay with
Who
that.
was granted independence?
The Iron Islands.
They were.
Whenever she went to Marine and they did
Like
that,
last season.
But
Did
Yara,
a
it's not.
handshake?
It's not. It's not Danny's throne. It's not her.
Well, why didn't Yara say anything?
I was confused.
Sansa
by
was
that
up
same,
there.
By that same standard, then.
Didn't she say anything?
Wait, I thought she
Bronn
did.
was granted Highgarden by a different, by Queen Daenerys as well.
No,
So-
by Cersei. Wasn't
by
he?
Cersei.
No, he
Cersei
wasn't given
gave-
Highgarden. He was given something else.
By
He was given
Cersei.
River Run by Cersei, but then and then Tyrion, who was at the time working for
Right.
Daenerys, said, "No, well, how about this? I'll give you Highgarden
Well, they
instead."
do things differently now in the 6 and 7.
That's true.
But he
6
hadn't
kingdoms,
even
yeah.
talked to Daenerys yet. That was all Tyrion's thing.
Right.
He was just like bargaining to keep his life.
Yes, to
So-
stay
They didn't
alive in
even
that
tell
moment.
Daenerys about Bronn, I don't think.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I thought Yara mentioned something that we didn't make that deal. We struck a deal with
She
the Queen.
said, I didn't make any deal with you people. I
Oh,
serve Queen Daenerys.
Make a deal to get Jon out because she wanted to kill Jon too.
She wanted
She
to
was
kill
with the
Jon, too.
Unsullied. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a big crime.
Yeah.
But I guess Jaime didn't get killed for kingslaying, so I mean there's a precedent there.
Yeah.
It's not an automatic death. I still can't believe it's over.
So exhausted.
Now, we
Usually
did
it's
go into
this
the
point where
North.
we talk about the next episodes.
I know.
Yeah, I was going to ask. So the character ends for everybody. We finally got to see shut the hell up, internet. Jon and
Ghost.
Ghost.
Yeah.
Oh
That
man.
that
I
really
really
boy.
am sad that
He
he
is a good
doesn't
boy.
have an ear.
No,
I for
right,
a
his little
split second
ear.
thought it wasn't gonna happen. Like I
He's
was like, well, I'm
damaged
devastated. Here
goods.
we
I wouldn't
go.
adopt him.
If they would have went north and not had that reunion,
Girl.
And didn't John kind of seem sort of like, I'm glad this shit is over.
he seemed
Back with
resigned
my
to his
pooch.
fate.
Yeah.
What are
Yeah.
they doing? What are they? All those kids? What are they taking? Is he taking like the wildlings back
No,
north?
they're just going.
No, I think that is
Yeah.
like the Night's Watch. So I mean, they can't
Yeah.
really stay at Eastwatch by the bay because it's destroyed. So
Oh,
they just
yeah.
kind of like went into the north, and they're gonna be the Night's Watch in the north.
I basically, but he
watch
did have the
what?
Knights Commander's cloak, and just I look, maybe this isn't what they meant. I'm just telling you how I took away from it. That he was the king and of the, know,
Yeah.
they probably
Yeah.
won't call him king, but
What
you know.
are they
Man's
watching?
radar.
Yeah. What's that?
What are they watching?
You know, it's deers.
I think that was I think that's what Stina was saying, that there's not really anything to watch, so they're going to go further
Party?
north and
Right,
find.
they're gonna. I mean, because whatever Tyrion told Jon, he was like, Jon said there's still a Night's Watch, and he goes, well, they need a place for bastards and broken things or people who commit crimes.
But
so it's like a
remember,
jail.
they weren't there to watch against the Night King. They didn't even remember the first episode when they were like
for
they were there for wildlings. And the thing about
wildlings
wildlings is that they're the ones that are with Tormund are cool, but that's not all wildlings.
That's true.
So there's probably like a whole bunch of wildlings out there who are
another spin-off.
I think the Night King would have swooped all them up.
That was
not really, because who are them people? Right? They had all those kids. Who are those kids?
All the little white kids. Oh, the creepy,
where are the
creepy white
broads?
kids.
Do you think maybe they're like just wandering north to see what's up there, similarly to how Arya is what I think is kind of silly, just finding what's west of Westeros? Like
Oh, that made sense for Arya for me because
I liked it.
I
You did?
love
Yeah.
that was my
I liked
favorite of
it.
all the character endings and arcs. I loved hers the most because to me that made the most sense
I
for
agree.
like the character that she's been created. She doesn't want to stick around. She doesn't want to rule. There's not a war. She's crossed all the names off of her list. What does she want to do now?
I think they all did exactly
Yep.
what they wanted to do in the first season. Like, she always wanted to, do her own thing. She was always
Yeah.
herself. And so when Ned that time, when he was like, you're going to marry a wonderful lord, and she's like, that's not me. So now she gets to go and be her. What's her name? Sansa always wanted to like be a queen and marry the prince or whatever. And
Fierce
now,
ass crown she's wearing too.
Oh, right?
I
Yeah.
loved
And now
it.
she's
I
like a
love-
queen. John from the beginning wanted to go to the wall. He went to the wall in the
Yeah.
first episode.
He thought that was like the greatest thing ever.
He wanted to go to the wall with Uncle Benjen.
Yep.
They
And
all
he's
did
going
what their
back.
direwolves did. So Sansa's was killed, and she had to like learn how to rule and be in King's Landing. Arya's went to go roam and be wild,
Yep.
and John's was
Stay
Stay on that
he
damn
was
wall.
abandoned
Yep.
in the north. And then what did poor Bran's was killed. So Bran's bye-bye, and now it's the new three-eyed raven that's ruling.
Yeah, and Bran, fittingly, no crown. They saw everybody with a crown. No crown, Bran. He doesn't, doesn't
No
really care
Iron
about
Throne
it.
either. His Iron Throne is his
I know. Will
wheelchair.
they build another Iron Throne, or
No.
like,
No.
will it be a straw throne?
No.
Straw
No
throne.
throne at
No, it'll
all?
be the tree.
He's got his own throne. Oh,
Yeah.
gosh, it'll be the tree.
Yeah.
It'll be a tree throne.
They'll put a weirwood tree inside.
Ooh, how
of-
creepy would that be if they grew that like tree that he was all tangled up in?
Ugh.
King Bran, the broken, in the tree. Oh,
He would never have to get a new ruler because he could live in that thing forever.
Wait, he would never die. How old was that
Right.
last three-eyed raven?
hundreds of years, right?
Hundreds. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
He was
He's going to
creepy,
be the
that
king
old man.
forever.
Right.
Yeah.
Might not be a bad thing. I mean, I believe he's going to be a good
Does
ruler.
he
Yeah.
age?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but still, like so. He's,
Magic, kept alive by magic, right? Like there's some magic force
Brendan
Sure,
Rivers,
yeah.
that keeps
Dude,
him alive.
he's going to be alive and king forever.
Did you notice that the final scene was not the exact same, but a very good copy of the very first
Yeah.
scene we ever saw.
Yes.
Through the wall, horse and a guy, John and a guy, and then they go to the woods, snowy woods, just like the very first scene
Yeah.
back in episode
Yeah.
1.
Yeah.
That gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. It was really
I'm
cool.
telling you, this whole season was a callback to the first season.
yeah.
Like, so much.
I thought it was great. I thought they did a good job. Internet haters, shut the fuck up.
That's the
My
theme of our
God.
show.
Yeah.
I even like the series finale of Seinfeld. I thought that was great.
Really?
Everyone shut up.
Yeah, I don't really care. That was my point. I was posting about that on social media. Like, I loved all the ones that I've seen, all the finales.
Except
like,
Lost.
I think what it is
Yeah,
is like,
Lost
except for
was silly.
Lost, everyone has an expectation of what they think is going to happen, and when a story's winding down, and especially given like there were 6 episodes to get what probably would be, one of the bigger books in the series. Like,
Yeah.
didn't have the source material. They did what they could with like limited scheduling. Cersei and Bronn can't even be in the fucking room together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so,
Contracts are
I
up,
think they
yeah.
did pretty well, with the amount of time that they were given.
if
to get us
if
where
I
they
could
needed to
snap
go.
my fingers, and this can't happen because Macy didn't want to act anymore. Bronn didn't. The guy who plays Sandor Clegane. Like, there's a bunch of people that didn't want to do the show anymore, so they just couldn't do it. Their contracts were up and they were done. They wanted to do other projects. I get it,
Yeah.
But if they could have done one more season to explain, I think like one more season would have done it. But again, I understand the reality of TV. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
they couldn't. I'm not going to get mad because they can't. Before we go, I did want to ask, what would be your favorite spin-off ideas now that we saw all these open-ended storylines? I think Arya, just a series called Arya.
Yeah,
With, like, her
that
and-
was what I was gonna say.
I would love that. That would
To
be my
find out
number
what's
one.
west of Westeros.
They'll show up in Westworld with the.
That would be incredible if she. It's like a crossover.
That would be awesome.
Can you imagine if she makes a cameo like in the next season of Westworld? Different character, but like if it's Macy
What if
Williams
it
in
was the same
Westworld.
character? You just see her walking around, like in the background. Like,
There
with
was
the little
this show.
sword.
And they could like make it really meta. There was the show a long time ago called Game of Thrones. We've got the actor. Can you imagine?
Oh my god.
So it's Arya for you.
Yeah.
What
So
about-
are we doing prequel or like sequel?
Anything.
Okay, I would do Doom of Valyria.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Wait, is that a prequel?
It happened, what, a couple
I don't
thousand
want
years?
to-
Okay, so I would like a prequel.
I
It's
don't
where-
want
Yeah.
any prequels.
So Valeria's, remember when they,
but-
Stone
When
Men,
Tyrion first saw
Yeah.
Drogon.
in the ruins of Valeria where the Stone Men jumped out of, it was basically the Rome of that world, very advanced civilization.
That
and it
was
was,
where-
the scale men.
The grayscale.
Yeah.
That was where the Targaryens were.
I don't want any prequels. I don't give a fuck about the
You're
past.
gonna get one.
You're so positive. I like that.
I told
We're
my
forward thinking.
husband, I
on this
said,
podcast.
I'm not going to watch any goddamn sequel. Fuck that. Oh, I'll probably watch it.
yeah.
Arya. Yeah,
Arya, yeah.
yeah.
I want the Starks. I want nothing but the Starks. I want their beginnings. I want
Okay.
I just want.
Oh, interesting.
So like a
All
Stark prequel.
Well, here's the
Yeah.
thing. I think you're going to get your
That's
wish because the
interesting.
Long Night is going to be that.
Yeah, that's
The one
the
that's-
Starks.
Wait,
Yeah.
what the? Is that another prequel?
That's the one that for sure is happening. They're already
I didn't know it
filming
was
it.
that. I didn't know
Is
that.
that Bran the Builder?
Bran the
Yes.
Builder. It's
All right.
where the Night King got started because
Okay.
we don't know this for sure, but the rumors are it was a Stark man, King Stark, who went and wed this very beautiful like White Walker woman back in the
Yeah.
day.
Well, I thought they just like
It was-
grabbed one of the first men.
Wh-
Who?
for the Night King?
Yeah.
Well, that was, I think in the Leon, correct me if I'm wrong, but some of the rumors are from some of the books was that was a Stark, like that guy that you
Yeah,
saw.
that's what we
Okay.
believe.
Yeah.
I
not
might watch
confirmed.
that.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I just want
want
to
the
know.
backstory on the night. I want the backstory on like the White Walkers, the Night King. I am excited for that one.
Yeah.
That
Definitely.
Yeah, I agree. If
So-
the show did continue, I feel like the Starks would be in trouble because they say
Yeah.
the lone wolf dies, but the pack survives.
Yeah.
Oh, they're all separated.
Yeah.
Arya's like on a ship with 5 other dudes and like one ship heading out to nowhere.
Right.
And then
world.
Jon's heading by himself nowhere, and then
That's not gonna happen.
and then Sansa and Bran are like opposing nations next to each other.
Yeah.
Like that's not good. So
No, it would be if the show continued. Yeah, there'd be lots of political strife.
Well, Bran
I
and
wish
Sansa
I wish
aren't
the show would. I really
opposing.
wish the
They're-
show would continue.
They live equally separately. They're going to help each other.
Supposedly, yeah.
What? Like, if your
Bran could
brother's
always
on
see
the
what
Iron
Sansa's
Throne, why
doing.
do you care? That her case for
Sansa's
them
not
being
gonna hurt
separate
her
was.
There could
I
never
a
think
little-
about this
Yeah.
though. There could never be a rebellion in the era of Bran the Broken because he sees everything.
Yeah.
As soon as he saw like Bronn talking to somebody in his, the bedchamber about a rebellion, he would send somebody out there. And be
Always
like,
in the
"Sorry."
true.
Star Chamber.
Well, that's
He's
going
his
to do
own
it
master
for our.
of whispers.
But yeah, there shouldn't be a master of whispers.
He's his own master of whispers.
There you go.
It really is.
Well, that's it
Train
for
all
our,
the little
our
shit
podcast.
kids.
We're going to, depending on the availability, we might do one more series like in review kind of podcast, just a little get together in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah,
But
there's an episode of like
A documentary.
yeah, we'll
Right.
probably do
On
it
HBO.
after.
Weekend, yeah.
oh.
So sometime next week we might get
Behind
back
the
together. We
scenes
do
look.
have the Mother of Dragons who will
She
soon.
might have that
Yeah.
baby.
I know
Yeah.
those eggs are hatching.
Yeah.
Maybe
Anytime.
Robin Aaron.
Never.
He'd be breastfeeding until he was in high school. works
Thank
out.
you. A big sincere thanks to everybody from me
Thanks
for
for
doing
having
this.
me.
Thanks for doing this, Seth.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's it. We'll go around the room. One final goodbye here until that. Again, I'm Seth of House Dunlap at Seth Dunlap on Twitter. Be sure to follow us on Twitter for the podcast at A Podcast Has on Twitter. And our Instagram is at A Podcast Has, no name, GOT.
Oh man.
I know. You're always, he is always the
again.
worst.
Michael of House Styles, first of his name. Thanks for a great season, everybody.
Yeah.
Yay.
Mother of Dragons here. It was fun.
Cat Vance, House of Bayou. I'm happy to have a life back on Sunday. What will I do with myself?
What will we
What will we
do?
do?
That's gonna be the next big show. Who knows?
Teapot, thank you. Thank you for asking me to do this.
And
This is
now our watch has ended.
fun. And now our watch is
Death and boobies, death and boobies, death and boobies.
Death
Death and boobies, death and boobies, death and boobies, death and boobies.